Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Chantele. And we're here to talk to you about The Circle episodes 9 and 10.
We are just clipping along here. I mean, it's such a short series that I feel like we're just getting into it and then it's like, boom, oh my gosh, we're wrapping up, basically.
Yeah, next week's the finale, correct?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, lots to talk about. But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. I appreciate it. All right. So I don't get to talk to you on Mondays, but we were heading into an influencer chat where episode 8 was leaving off, and we find out that our two influencers, Daniel and Nick, do not get to talk. They're just each going to block someone on their own. So we are losing two people at this moment. Now, Chantele, Josh and I both predicted what was going to happen. Did you predict what was going to happen?
Yeah, that was pretty much what I assumed was going to happen. I thought that Nick was going to stick, like he's still wary of Kay, but he wants to keep her in there because I think it would probably cause more damage if he took her out because everybody would just be turning back at him. But his rationale for he had the didn't have the best relationship with Roxana. It made sense, and he wasn't going to necessarily be targeted right after that. And he was taking away one of Kay's numbers. And then we know that Jackson was a terrible catfish. So, I wasn't surprised that she wasn't going to be moving forward. She didn't play it well.
No, she really didn't. And that's a great block for Daniel. Daniel hasn't shown a lot of cards, but it is clear that Jackson is, raising some eyebrows from a few people. That doesn't get any blood on his hands or anything like that. There's no blowback for Daniel to take Jackson out. And I feel like Nick had just made this sort of promise to Kay.
It's too soon.
Why not give that a beat? Yeah. Show her loyalty.
Absolutely.
And just see if that helps you.
Like, she still has some influence. So if she is not coming for you or her people aren't coming for you, that's a good position to be in. You have your numbers that are ready to retaliate, and then you have your enemy not wanting to attack. I think that's a very good position for him to be in. How did you feel about the fact that they didn't get to talk? Like, I was just like, I was like, you loved it?
Why not?
But I personally, I'm like, I love the information that they get to get out of having these influencer conversations.
Sure.
I don't mind them each getting one person to block, but I would have loved just that Daniel can get some information about what Nick's doing, and then vice versa. I felt that they lost that opportunity. And it was probably going to still be the same result with the blocking. So I just thought it would have been nice to see that bit of strategy of them both trying to get their way and trying to get, the people that they wanted blocked, or not blocked. So
for sure. And I feel like at the end of these two episodes, we're going to have exactly like the perfect combo where these people have got to talk and I need to hear what they're going to say.
I don't know what's going to happen here.
Yeah, that one's going to be interesting. I feel like just for one time, one twist where they don't talk, I'm okay with that. But in general, I do want the information. And I would have liked to have seen how Daniel tried to save Roxana.
Absolutely.
Because that might have changed, maybe.
Well, like Kay might have convinced him to take out Kay. And I mean, I want that to happen, of course, but it might have been like, okay, well, you keep Roxana, then I'm gonna have to do Kay. And he'd have to be like,
okay,
I have to let her go.
Yeah. So. That would have been interesting, but I just kind of love that Roxana goes out on Daniel's HOH almost, but that Daniel had nothing to do with it kind of thing, but it does make it exciting. Now, these two visits felt so produced to me. Never in my life has it been so produced.
So Rachel has a crush on Nick.
Okay, sure.
He wishes that she could have been flirting with Nick, and he wishes that it was her that he was flirting with. And I was just like, is this what the producers needed to have happen? Is like
They obviously made them go. The two people blocked went to the two influencers, but not the one that blocked them. It was so weirdly staged. So yeah, Jackson's gonna visit Nick, which means Rachel is visiting Nick. Like, sure, they broed out a little bit, but really, she would have gone to Isabella by her own
well, that's what I
choice.
wrote down. I thought that
Yeah.
I thought that Daniel might go to Roxana just because like he had such a good relationship with her.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, nope. Jackson's gonna see Isabella. They came in together around the same time. I can't remember, and like they were working together. Like I feel like they would have talked. That's 100% is what I thought.
True. Roxana going to Daniel isn't that big of a leap, but she could have also gone to Kay. I wouldn't have been surprised about that. But anyway, so yeah, Nick's going to explain Vince to Rachel, and she's going to be like, wait, what? What? But okay, we get that out of the way. And then, yeah, she's just going to flirt and be like, I wish you could have flirted with me. And he was like, yeah, you should have come in as yourself. And we all collectively said, yeah.
She probably wouldn't have got cast, though.
I guess not. Yeah.
Maybe it's like, listen, we don't really want you on this show, but if you go as a catfish, we could allow you to have a couple weeks in the circle.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I guess. And then Roxana and Daniel are just going to have a big love fest. Oh my gosh. Love, love, love. Okay. And then they do a little game talk. Nick's the core. Nick, Isabella, Ashley is the trio that needs to be split up.
I was really worried, though, when Daniel was like, it's smart, but he was like, maybe we should try to get Vince on our side and like use Vince as a way to maybe get to Nick. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like,
I would have liked to have seen it.
It would have been such a mess. And it would have been very interesting. But I was worried.
That would have ruined Daniel's game is what that would have done.
And maybe Kate's game as well, if she got caught in that.
But we're not going to get that opportunity. First, though, we're going to get Roxana's message to the group. She is genuine. Are you?
I mean, I liked Roxana the first couple of weeks. I just didn't think she was bringing any more game to the show. She wasn't trying to win. She wasn't making extra connections. Like we can see, like as much as like I don't love Nick, he's thinking everything through, and we're seeing him like, oh, that's a good. Oh, she said that. Oh, okay, I see where she's going. Like he's really strategizing and thinking about what everybody's doing, and all of his actions, he's thinking about them. Same with Kay. Those are the only two people that are really, and Daniel actually as well, thinks about what he's saying and how people are saying to him. And then James, of course, I think he's very smart as well. But Roxana wasn't doing any of this at all. So at this point, I was like, well, you know what? You're not really doing anything for you to stay at this point. Like, you should have had that relationship with Nick. You were in there from the beginning with him. Like, send him a cake. Like, I don't know, but she wasn't playing the game.
She wasn't. She was a loyal soldier to Kay. She was open to Kay's plans. She would ride that wave, whichever way it took her. But I much prefer the person making the waves stay in the game. So yes, give me Kay, give me Nick. I'm here for this battle. I'm here for this game that they're playing.
And I was still also like, I mean, I wouldn't want to be blocked. And so I know that she's probably a little bit bitter in that moment. But when she's just kind of like, why would he block me when like, you know, Kay, like he was upset with Kay before this, like, and he thinks Kay's a catfish. And so she was just mad that Kay didn't get blocked. I was like, Kay didn't get blocked because she did the work that you didn't do.
She put in the work. Absolutely. That's the question is like, why didn't he block Kay? Why? There is something there.
Exactly.
Now Jackson's message a little different. That's not a dude's voice at all. She's just being cute and she's like, hey, it was me, you got me, okay, bye.
Now, do you think that there's any chance that Nick and Rachel are going to date or canoodle outside of the show? Do you think
100%? I think he doesn't have a chance with Ashley.
Right.
And he doesn't have a chance with Isabella, probably. Right. I mean, maybe Sophia introduces them. So yeah, no, I feel like Rachel's the winner. Winner. You get Nick.
Gonna get a boyfriend out of this.
I mean, all he had to hear was, I wanted you to flirt with me. He's like, oh, I will. I will.
Oh, of course I will. I will.
Literally, he can't help himself. So they're all excited. Oh my God, they got a catfish out. Okay, great. That's exciting. Then in their group chat, Nick is being remorseful for blocking Roxana, and Kay is buying it. Daniel a bit more bitter, maybe not so much buying it.
I mean, what's her name? Kay was saying that she really feels that Daniel and Nick are her guys, and so I was like, I'm worried that Kay wasn't going to be like as observant as to what was going on and just like go full in. And Daniel was still having a little bit of a realistic perspective, like, hey, let's not trust him too quickly. But I think that's a good balance that like if he has a conversation with Kay, he could be like, hey, Kay, like we trust him, but like not that much. Just keep it arm's length. So
yeah,
I think it actually makes sense. Like it's a good balance between like untrustworthy, trustworthy, and unsure of like who is trustworthy.
Right. Yeah. Well, Kay's a smart little cookie. All right.
She scares me though. She scares me. It's like, ah!
What part scares you?
No, just like with like that, the fact that she's like, Nick, Nick and Daniel are my guys, and I'm like, does she fully mean that? He can't really be your guy. Because like Nick, when she's saying like, oh, I trust him, you cut to Nick being like, she knows that I'm lying to her. And it's like, she just seems that she's very naive. And so it might just be the edit, but that's what scares me, is that it seems like she's more naive than Nick is.
Yeah. I see ya. I hear ya. But I think she's pretty smart. Vince is going to ghost us, guys. Vince's profile is a little grayed out. Everyone's like, what? And the circle confesses he was never a real player. This was a burner profile for someone who is still in the circle. Ooh. Let the paranoia begin.
You're like, love this.
Love it. Their guesses are all over the map.
Yeah, who was it though that said that they had it on the money and then they moved from it? Was it Vince? Was it James that originally was like, oh, it has to be? No, it was Kay that was starting to say that it was Nick, and
Kay was. She didn't leave it though. She had it right on the money. She was like, he talked up Nick and James a lot, but he really talked up Nick. It must be Nick. I was so impressed with Kay at this point.
Yeah, I mean, she does a really good job. She surprises me. I'm always like, okay, good. Phew.
Yes. Phew. Yeah. Okay, good. She straight figured it out. I mean, James was like, no, I was in a conversation with both Nick and Vince. Couldn't be Nick. And it's like, no, that's the wrong answer. So Kay and Nick, let's touch base here. Okay, let's do this. She's being, nice to him here at the top. I'm grateful you kept your word. You saved me. And she really does seem genuinely like you said, Nick's my guy.
And while she's saying all this, Nick is like, she thinks that she knows that I'm Vince. She knows that I'm Vince. Like, I'm not buying anything she's saying. Like, And I'm just like, just believe the poor girl.
Yeah. And it did seem like he did a decent job of sort of getting her off his track. Mm-hmm. But then she did say, like, I really thought it was because you. And then I was like, okay, so is she letting him know though that she might think it's him?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. It's making me nervous.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that they're just editing this to make us think that she doesn't have her finger on the pulse here. Please.
Yes. Okay, then our next conversation is James and Ashley. James is asking about Vince. Ashley says,
sketchy.
I think it's Isabella.
No.
James.
I wouldn't think it was Isabella for the one reason is that it just didn't seem like the same. I don't know. I wouldn't have thought it would be Isabella. I would have thought it would have been a guy for sure.
Yeah, it would have been nice if it was a girl so she could get into like the guy conversations, but
true.
I mean, that wasn't how it all came
Calvin.
together, but nobody knows that. I mean, it's just weird to see James and Ashley talking. They're not like the closest of allies here, although we are going to have this like lovely conversation. So James is sort of reaching out to Ashley and expressing that he is an ally, talking about his story with his brother, who's trans man, and you know, Ashley slash Matthew. You know, he seems like he's a very empathetic person. Anytime someone, you know, sort of talks real stories, he's very touched.
Yeah, I mean, this was I was liking Ashley slash Matthew in the beginning, and then I started to not really like him that much when the band was all created. I'm not really a fan of the band, and now like this allowed me to like him again, you know, or like Ashley again. The fact that he was just being so like he just a warm person to talk to and being really an ally, I would say, to James here. So it made me like Matthew slash Ashley a little bit more.
Again. Yeah. Now we have a new player. Jackie is going to enter the chat.
I usually think that the last players that are entering are duds, and I think that she's actually an interesting person. I'm always like, okay, like I like her, and she seems engaging, like likable. You know, I liked her as a new addition. She's someone that actually could get to the end, which is, you know, usually in that position, it's like, I don't know if you're going to do very well.
Right? I mean, at this point, you don't win the game. Like you are barely even like this is when Ed and his mom came in, I believe. Like this spot is for someone who I don't feel like the producers take serious as a contender to win.
Mm-hmm.
But interestingly, with this season, we are set up with two groups who are like desperate for a number and are like, and so this is new for me as like a Circle viewer. Like I haven't seen this play out in Circle US before.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head if it's played out in this type of way in the past. Like sometimes this position they get to the finale, but they never get any votes. They're usually like the last place in the finale. But I do see that she could potentially have a shot to at least rank high and maybe even win. Like she could snag out a win if things kind of flow a certain way.
Things get weird.
Strategy on, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she tells us she's an Aries, but I did not get to research anything else. That's all I know.
I mean, Aries is going to work with Kay. Daniel, he was a Virgo. James was an Aries as well, was it? I feel like James is fire. He seems fiery.
Did you know James came into our chat on Monday? He popped in.
I was watching hello. And I saw that, and Josh was like, "What? The James from the show?"
Yeah, he totally nerded out. I don't have James's. Is he? Did he say he's an Aries?
Oh, maybe I'm just making that up.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we heard that at some point. Okay, so back to my notes. I got lost in my zodiacs. Okay, so Jackie is going to enter, and literally these people could not be more thirsty for a number. They are like, oh my God, Jackie, best friends. Oh my God, I love cosplay. I love video games. I love, where do you play beach volleyball? Like, oh my God, like so much love here.
How do they choose the order of when people come in? Because like, I would have really liked to have gotten to know Jackie a couple weeks ago when Jackson came in. Like, why? I don't know. I just don't understand like the order of these things sometimes.
Right.
Because like I find that she's very interesting, and like I mean, she is the perfect person, I'd say, right now to be shaking things up. Like I do like what she's bringing, but if I like what she's bringing now, she probably would have brought something earlier too, right?
Yeah. Oh, good point, Diva. I would have liked Jackie over Ava and her sister too. That's
yeah.
Fine. I wouldn't have hated that. Yeah, I don't know. I assume that they bring in people who are just characters who aren't really going to play the game later and later, and they bring us the gamers at the top. But I'm just guessing. Yeah, exactly. Like, well, you can't bring in your token older person later.
No, that's true.
You have to bring the token person, older person in at the top. I don't know. I'd love to be a fly on the wall when the producers are discussing that. That's true. Okay, Circle of Fortune.
This is fun.
Jackie is going to host. Random questions are going to come up, and she has to assign who is going to answer those questions. And we start to get a little heated when Ashley calls out Kay as sort of her biggest competitor, biggest threat.
I'm just wondering, like, Ashley's been playing an okay game, right? Do the producers make them say things that are a little bit more harsh, or is this like what she really was choosing to how to phrase things? Because you could still answer these questions without looking shady or super nasty. It's kind of like being on a job interview and you're like, what's your words quality? And you make it sound like something that's really good still. Like, why don't these people still try to butter up a bit even when they're laying out some not so nice facts?
I can't imagine a producer telling me, like, you need to call someone out, because I'd be like, that's not good for my game. I'm not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I don't know, like, how it's really out of character for Matthew / Ashley. I felt like, unless he's just like, okay, we are at that point in this game,
but
the lines have been drawn. I don't know.
Nick had it bang on. He's like, oh, why did you say that, Ashley? I need you to be an influencer. Now Kay is not going to rank you decently high.
Right.
Yeah, that's correct, Nick. Like, Ashley, what are you doing? Like, you don't, you go for somebody else. Like, there was no strategy behind his response. And I think it lost them the game, to be honest.
Yeah, no, this definitely pushed him down. I don't think he was in a horrible spot. And now you just like called attention to yourself in a way that wasn't really necessary. Maybe you just get wrapped up in it. I don't know. You get sucked into the game. I am not sure. But Kay, our girl, who is always thinking, and dang it, she's so smart. She gets a real toughie here, but she spends it to be like, I am generous. I'm a giver. Here's some personal info about me, and I'm going to do good with this money. And then everyone's like, ugh.
Yeah, it's like they're like thinking that she's such a horrible person, and like she's actually has intentions of doing something really great with the money. Very selfless.
Yes, and I don't care if this is a big fat lie. This is what you do. This is what you say. This is how you play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Sophia was annoyed. I'm like, oh God, why do you have such a good answer, Kay? It's like, stop being jealous that she's good at this game, girl.
Yeah, more on Sophia later. I have not watched past episode 10.
No, I was tempted, and I was like, I don't want it to color my thoughts of the episode, so I didn't. I didn't watch. No.
Exactly. It's better if I don't know, so I don't like have a bias here. But I also just didn't have time today. So it is just up to episode 10. Please, no spoilers past that. Okay, so Kay is going to get some sympathy with that. And then the question is, who is a catfish? Who do you think is a catfish? And she's going to throw this question to James. And he says Isabella.
Fair. She's sketch. And this is the thing, that the people that are the catfish are the ones that are so angry about people talking about catfishes. Like, like with what Matthew said, it's like, oh, you're always like hunting for the cat and you're not genuine at all. And it's like, doth protest too much?
Yeah.
Like she's real. And she's looking for catfishes because that's what you kind of do in the circle a little bit. And yeah, the people that are so angry, like, I can't believe that they'd call me out like this. Like, well, because you're being sketchy, because you're a catfish.
Okay, I have a couple thoughts here. Now, this doesn't seem to hugely backfire on James.
Mhm.
He is making a statement of like, Isabella, I think you're a catfish. But I thought the easy way out here to get very little blowback is to say, Jackie, you just got here. I have to assume you're a catfish. Isn't that the easier way out?
Well, yes, I didn't even think about that because I just assumed that because she was the host and kind of exempt from these activities, like she's exempt from the voting, she's hosting. I was just thinking that maybe she was off limits as a person that you could be, targeting. Because I feel like it's like a information recon for Jackie really here, and so putting
No,
her in the
you're
hot
probably
seat like
right.
that.
She's
So I just
probably,
didn't think about it, but it's a possibility if it's not against the rules.
I bet it's against the rules. I bet it's like Jackie doesn't get to be an answer. They're going to force him to say something, but he, doesn't take the joke way out. I thought he might take some sort of joke way out, but he does say Isabella, and she is like really starting to feel things here. She is going on a journey mentally and emotionally here.
Well, and I do find this very interesting just because I love studying human behavior and social dynamics and stuff like that. I find it very fascinating. And it's very interesting that she didn't want to come in as herself because she didn't feel as though she would be able to do well as herself. So she's going as to who she thinks would be doing well in this game. And she's just starting to learn that being herself would have been way more effective and she'd be way more real and she'd be able to connect with these people and she'd probably have a better time in the circle and do a lot better if she just was herself. So just watching her having these discoveries, I think is very fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's true. All right, separate conversation. Daniel and Kay are going to touch base. They are going to both express their sadness that they lost Roxana, and they're going to connect over what the heck's going on with Ashley. What was that about?
Yeah, well, what was that about, Ashley?
Yeah, seriously.
It's so jarring. I mean, like, we were friends, and then all of a sudden, like, you're like attacking me. Like, okay,
Right. Why did he do that? They were not against him. I don't.
like they definitely had a one up on them with the band and having Ashley be in the band, and like they might still have voted them, ranked him maybe say a 3 or 4, which would allow him to potentially be an influencer of all the other band people. Like he could have been playing double agent and like getting information and like at least get to be the influencer and then take out Kay himself if that's what he really wants to do. But he really fumbled the bag.
Yeah. Interesting move. They decide that if they can get James to connect them with Jackie, that would be their way of pulling Jackie in as a number. It seemed like James and Jackie were already connecting. So that is their idea at this point. And then we go right to seeing James and Jackie genuinely connecting.
And they just have a good vibe, and I appreciate that. I guess it's also because like that's the side of the house that I enjoy more. So I'm happy that like she's seemingly picking the right side. And so, yeah, I like that they vibe. I like that both Kay and Daniel were able to recognize that James was the link here to maybe pull in that number so that they have a little bit of an advantage. All around, it was good gaming for everybody on that side.
So in this conversation with James and Jackie, he does reveal that Nick and Isabella are close, which I think is a smart little seed to plant, knowing that Nick will probably try to flirt with Jackie, make it clear that he's kind of spoken for-ish. And then he just sort of speaks highly of Ashley, Kay, and Daniel. He does say, like, don't worry about Ashley. Ashley's not a thing, but Kay and Daniel, are good to go. So that's the information that Jackie's able to gain from this conversation. And now we are completely set up with this Kay, Daniel, James versus Nick, Ashley, Isabella. Set up who can pull Jackie in as a number first. That's what we have here. We're going to get a alert. The circle is complete. No new players will arrive.
Perfect. I mean, I do like this group of people for the end game, seeing what happens. But my question is to, I guess, the band. Like, okay, great. Like, it is the right move to try to get Jackie in as your number. But why weren't they trying to get, like, Daniel in as their number beforehand? Or, like, why weren't they putting in this work with the people that were in the circle beforehand to put them in a better spot? Obviously, we like a divide because it's interesting as a viewer, but like, I want to be friends with everybody in the house. Like, I would be putting that work in, I would hope, with everybody.
Right, which we kind of see from Kay and Nick, because of these two sides, Kay and Nick have a little blending, a little crossover, because they have put in the work. Now, yes, Daniel seemingly just lost his number one, Roxana. There should have been a fight for who can get in with Daniel. And hopefully there were some conversations that were not included in the edit, because that is a huge missed opportunity if people weren't individually at least doing that.
Yes, and you're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, you must be, so upset. Like, I really didn't expect him to do that. Like, I'm here for you if you need me. Like, I can be your number one, like, whatever it is, but do something.
Yeah. Yeah. This whole like 3 on like 2 sides, it's fun to watch, but yeah, you gotta be in with everyone. Okay, here we go. We're gonna see the band get together. Daddy Nick, he has his little group with Ashley and Isabella, and then James is gonna name it Viva la Revolution here with Daniel and Kay. They've got their thing going on, and boom, they're both gonna be like, hey, let's bring in Jackie. And this is amazing. Obviously produced by the producers.
How did they make this work though? How do you think the producers did this? And it's like you get your timetable, like that you have to like set up when your schedule is of, okay, I want to talk to this person at this time, this person this time, this person this time, I guess. And so they can have the cameras set up for these conversations. And so it's like, does Nick be like, okay, I want to have a chat with the rest of the band, and then James say, I want to have a chat with the other people, and then they're like, well, you can only do that chat at 6 p.m. or whatever it is. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what they do every day. Every day, I think the producer who is assigned to that house guest, that person in the circle, they go over and like, Ashley is saying, I want to talk to Daddy Nick and I want to bond with so-and-so. And like, they talk about this stuff and then they say, okay, all right, this is the time that you're going to talk to Nick. And then you're like, okay. And then you act through it, whatever. So it meant that the producers knew the band wanted to get together and pull in Jackie. And they knew that this group wanted to get together and pull in Jackie. So they said, okay, this is the time that you guys are going to do that to both groups. Poor Jackie is totally set up to be in a bad position, because this doesn't really help her game to like let certain people know.
Decline.
No, thank you. Yes. This is amazing though for us.
I know, I was watching it, I was like, oh my God, are they gonna make her have to decline one of them? And I was like, what is she gonna do? Because she might be able to ask for forgiveness from James and company and go and get some information from, the band. Like, that's kind of what I might have wanted to do. And so, yeah, she's definitely in a sticky position. And I wish she talked through a little bit more why she made her decision.
Yeah, I think all she said was, I do feel connected to James, so I'm going to give him my priority or the loyalty there. But I was hoping she could be like balancing both. I wanted to see her be like reading this, then reading this, and then answering here. And then I like that's
answering wrong in the wrong group chat.
Yeah. But that's obviously not an option. So she is going to decline the band. That looks not great. Let's get that little message there. But she's going to have a chat with Daniel, James, and Kay.
I mean, this is the right decision, I think, for her, just because she doesn't really know everything that's going on. And she said that she already trusts James. And so if she had gone over to the band and talked to them and then maybe after be like, oh my God, I'm sorry, I did that just so I can get some information because I already trust you, they might not trust her still. You know what I mean? Like they might not fully embrace her to bring her in. So I do think it was probably right. And it's what I wanted to happen. Really. So.
I mean, yeah, I think whatever way she wanted to go, if she genuinely does like James the best, then that is the way to go. Get in. She just got here. Like, get in with whoever it is that you need to get in with. So yeah, she is honest. She was like, look, I had to decline. There is a group right now with these people who I had to say no to be here.
I'd be like,
which is just, yeah, note that. Okay. And they basically are just going to trash the other group of people. And I don't think all of this is true. They're liars. They're not real. They're not genuine. Like, okay. You're just,
well, I mean, two of them aren't.
Well,
and one of them was lying for like the last few episodes has been. So,
but like we said, that doesn't matter. It's who you are aligned with.
Yeah.
Catfish or not.
Catfish or not. But I'm just talking about them feeling as though they're not being genuine or feeling as though they're lying. It could be as a result is the fact that they are lying.
Isabella and Kay are going to touch base here because Sophia, she's been on this journey that we've talked about. She's making some realizations. And although I do feel like this is strategic to make...
She should do this, like 100%. Let there be sun.
My curtain just fell. It made a weird noise though that I was like, what just happened? I softly fell. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, so I think this is a strategic move. Like she is trying to salvage something with Kay, but I do feel like it's coming from a place of like, oh my God, I made some mistakes.
Well, and remember, I was a little bit of annoyed. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, just about the fact that they were targeting Kay. Yes, she's the best player, but I just felt a little bit racially targeted, potentially, just subconsciously. I don't think that she's intentionally was targeting her for that reason. And I'm wondering if she had kind of had maybe that realization. It's like, wait, why am I targeting this person? What has she really done to me other than being nice and being nice to people in the group and being kind of genuine? And so I'm wondering if she's had that was part of her epiphany and she didn't really share it fully.
Right. I mean, she does say and admit that she was hyper focused on Kay, whatever that reason was, whatever the subconscious bias, whatever it was, she focused in on Kay a little too much. Which is weird, but it's also just not good for your game. So her realizing, and she phrased it that her insecurities made her take things personally, like she was jealous of how wonderful Kay is, and instead of wanting to be friends with that person,
what I was saying, it's like, wouldn't you want to be friends with the person that's like friendly and nice?
Yeah, but you know what? Remember the first ratings that she was brought into? She ranked Ashley at the very bottom when I thought you would connect with Ashley. Wouldn't you want to be an ally with Ashley? But she was like, no, I can't even get that person out of here. So I do question Sophia's choices. This is weird.
She must be wrestling with being Isabella and who Isabella would gravitate towards and herself. I think that that's also messing her up of how to connect with these people. And then her insecurities as Sophia are coming through. And so I think that it's just, she's insecure and she's catfishing as someone that's supposed to be not insecure. And I think it's
Right.
all just like clouding her judgments completely.
Right. And ultimately, she's realizing she just needs to be herself.
Yeah.
Duh. Obviously. And
Even as a
always.
catfish. Like,
Yes.
why couldn't the blonde girl be like queer? Why couldn't she, you know, or have a queer sister, like, to talk about it more at least, or like your experiences, like what, she can't be a nerdy gamer? Like what, like why can't you be giving these attributes to this photo?
Right. Just change the photo if that's what you want to do, but still be yourself. And
Yeah.
like always, Kay is going to handle this beautifully. She's handles it so well. She appreciates the gesture, although she is questioning how strategic it might be. But that's exactly what she should be doing.
Absolutely. And she uh, also turned it around to Sophia to ask her more questions. So that's an opportunity for her to share a little bit more, and Kay to be a nice listening ear. And I think it's great for both of their games that this conversation happened, is because
Mm-hmm.
now Kay might have been like, get her out 100%. But now she might be like, okay, maybe I'll rank her like 5 instead of 6.
Right.
Or, you know, like I think it will help her a little bit to stay a little bit longer. But I think Kay did say this. It's like, it's a little too late, but
It is too late. I mean, Sophia said, she was like, it'd be great if we could bring Kay into the band. And I'm like, duh. You guys did a great job of knocking her down the rankings. That's when you pull someone in and you make them your ally. Timing's just a little off.
No bueno.
Okay. Nick is going to touch base with Jackie because he just can't hope that she said no to him. This doesn't sit well with him at all.
Well, yeah, he definitely has. He's top dog. Like, he's been like influencer like twice in a row, and like, you know, Calvin gave him Vince, and like he's just so popular. And then he had like a date with Rachel, and like she's super cute,
And
and like
any opportunity to flirt with a new girl. I mean, come on. Give him the chance. Now, she is pretty honest here, explains the whole like 2 groups at one time thing. I had to make a decision. And along the lines of how you were thinking, she kind of phrases it like, I already felt good with you. So I knew that I should probably jump over to the other group to get to know them because we're good. And he's like, cool. He totally seems to buy it.
I like that she knows how to interact with each person, how like she's good at being a chameleon in these relationships. And so she's flirty McFlirty with Nick, and she's like even sort of a little bit flirty with James, but like they kind of like have a little bit of a banter with like that whole like, oh, I'll beat you in Street Fighter 2 or whatever, like having like a little bit of gamer banter. So yeah, I like how she's playing this.
Gamer banter, that's a thing. So he can't help himself. They're flirting. They handle it well, and I think that this is a good. I mean, you know, Nick is one who's crossing both sides, and he's able to do that here with Jackie. And same thing with Jackie. She picked James's side, but she's dipping her toes in with other people, and that is obviously the smart way to go. Alert! It's time to rate, y'all. It's time to rate.
And did you think? I thought that they weren't going to give us the rating. I thought it was going to be like, no, they're probably just going to like put somebody at
cliffhanger.
Would be like, and then be like, dun 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 dun. Like, that's my impersonation of the music.
They start us with the bottom this time. They're gonna give us a bunch of number 5s. Ashley gets ranked bottom by Jackie. James gets ranked to the bottom by Isabella. Nick's gonna be at the bottom by James. Daniel's gonna get bottom by Nick. Nick's gonna get the bottom by Daniel. Kay is at the bottom by Ashley. Ashley's at the bottom by Kay. Like, we got strong opinions on who needs to be at the bottom here.
I definitely I am very excited to see what happens next episode, because I can't wait until the finale to see if they show us how everybody strategically decides to vote. Because I think that that's very interesting when it's like, okay, well, if I put them at 5, they're probably going to put me at 1. So like that means I have to put them at 4 if I want, you know what I mean? Like, I hope that we see them crunching the numbers. That would be very exciting for me. I don't think that they'll do it, but I'm hoping that they will a little bit. I love it.
Never give us enough of that info. I know. Okay, so we give just a few number ones here. Kay gets ranked number 1 by James. Ashley's going to get a number 1 ranking by Nick. Nick's going to be ranked number 1 by Ashley. So the two of them are on the same page. And James is going to get a number 1 ranking by Jackie. That makes sense at this point. These rankings, I got to be honest, this is the first time I've actually been able to
tell who
predict as we're going along, because we know
nobody was surprised. Mm-hmm.
Well, they seem surprised in the circle, but to us, we see the two sides, but we see a couple people who are able to bridge the gap. And those people are going to be ranked the highest of the opposite side. So 6th place is not a shocker here that Isabella is the lowest person on the side of the band. But then it's not going to be another band person because we're fairly split here. So number 5, 5th place, is going to be Daniel, who's the lowest person on the other side.
Viva la revolution.
Oh, viva la revolution, which I do like the way Daniel says it. So then we go 4th place is going to be back to the band. That's Ashley. And then 3rd place is going to be Kay.
I think this is good for Kay to be here because she just can't be super flash in the front anymore. You know, so she has to like make it past. This is the last rating before the finale. Or is there another rating, do you think?
No, there's another rating.
So
because we have to get down to, we have to lose another person.
Okay, so after the next rating though, like being here is good because like people be like, okay, we don't have to worry about Kay, but then she might get 2 people that put her in the number 1 spot because they're going to be assuming that other people are going to put her in the, you know, the bottom spot, and so like, okay, we'll put her up there, and like they might be able to forget that everybody else is going to be strategic, and it's just good for her to be in a 3rd place right now.
Yeah, definitely, I think so.
She definitely can't be higher than that.
No, she doesn't need to be an influencer. Although I'm not sure that Nick needs to be an influencer either. He comes in 2nd place. And then James is coming in 1st. And I am not surprised by this at all. James has played this beautifully, especially as a fairly new person, because he's not a given. He's not considered OG.
No, not at all. And the fact that he was able to get in there, choose a side, like know that he's very important member of this side, recognizing all who the catfishes are. He's really able to call out people's bullshit really quickly and really easily. I think that he's surprisingly a better player than I was expecting him to be. I think he's doing very well. Yeah. And I love that he says that his like girlfriend of 12 years says he could do whatever he wants to in the circle. He could come back with a wife.
There I go, he wins. Bring home the money. That's it. Yeah, he's so much fun. He's really got his head in this game. I feel like he must have some Sagittarius in him, the way that he can spot these catfish.
Catfish hunter is a Sagittarius trait.
Well, Sagittarius are just really good at knowing if you're telling the truth. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can tell when you're lying. They're like, this doesn't sit right. Something's off about this. So I feel like he's got that good thing, which is really hard through written word.
Absolutely,
you know,
absolutely. I'm always sort of like, how would I do on the circle? Like, I can't tell.
Right. I'd like to think I'd do amazing, but I'd be like so lost reading all the text, and I'd be like, I don't understand how this was said, you know.
Well, if you read them out loud, though, I think that you'd probably start to like put people's voices in and like have it just start to be like create how they would be speaking things, their own personal vernacular. So I think that you'd end up starting to tell how people speak. So
yeah,
I think it'd be very fun.
Well, it seems like we don't have a twist here at this point. James and Nick are our 2 influencers. They're going to go to the influencer chat lounge thing. They are going to talk through and agree upon blocking one person. And that's our cliffhanger, though. So we do not get to see this discussion. Again, for the chat, I know some of you guys have watched ahead. We have not. So no spoilers, but this is the conversation that we want to see. These are squarely on two different sides. These people.
What, like, Nick is like, I'm not budging, and James is just like, he thinks he can get one over on me. Yeah, right. I'm getting my way, and I'm like, who's gonna get their way? Somebody is not going to get their way.
No.
So who do you think is gonna buckle?
Well, here's my question. Who do you think is the least important of the group? Because yes, you're on two different sides, but you are not going to push too hard in either direction, even though you both don't want to lose here. A person and a number. There has to be someone who getting rid of them doesn't really affect the group too much. And honestly, I've been saying this person's name this whole time. That would be Daniel in my book.
That's what when I'm looking at the people, I'm like, man, there's not that many people to. And we hear a lot of sound bites from Daniel being like, oh, I really hope that James like fights for me because I would fight for him. And it's like, uh-oh, is he going to fight for him? Because I could see James letting Daniel go, which would be really heartbreaking. Because
yeah, I mean, especially we're just now seeing Daniel, like, he's lit, he's ready, he's actually vocal about things now, he's ready to go. I would have liked to have seen this Daniel from the get-go, and I feel like it would have helped his game because he coasted there where he didn't build really a lot of strong connections. The only one he did was Roxana. And so losing her, obviously, is tough.
But the only thing is, though, like, James would have to know that that's a number that he'd be losing. And
yes.
I think it wouldn't look great to even Jackie K. Like, I think it would just, like, Jackie, who you're trying to like bring in and be like, we're loyal, we're good to each other, like, for him to let Daniel go, I don't think it would look great in the eyes of Jackie, who you're trying to, like, you know, entice to be part of your group because you guys are loyal and you take care of each other and you da-da-da-da. And so,
I mean, I think the strong fight is for Jackson, though, right? Or not, sorry, not Jackson, Isabella.
Jackson, I mean, no, words out of your mouth. Isabella, I don't think that he's going to let her go, but maybe there could be a convincing thing for Ashley, maybe, with, like, I don't know. It could be any of those
maybe
people.
Nick,
Isabella, Daniel, or Ashley. Daniel most likely, then Isabella, then Ashley, I guess is the order.
Yeah, I think that in James's mind, he even said to Jackie in one of these episodes, don't worry about Daniel, he's still going through puberty. That's a sign to me that it's like, yeah, Daniel's a number for me. I'm going to keep him on my side, but I'm not taking him seriously. Is he even here? Like, what's he doing? He's kind of like a Roxana to me, where he's like, he can be loyal if he is on your side, but like, is he making moves? What's he doing? So I don't know if that James would fight too hard to keep Daniel, but hopefully James is going to fight to get rid of Isabella, because that has been clear that he thinks Isabella's a catfish and working against Isabella. I can't wait to see how Nick backs up both Isabella and Ashley. I want to see what they say about their
like, can we really see James backing down, though?
I don't see either backing down.
I can't see James, you know, he with his like whole Street Fighter conversation with Jackie being like, I'll take you down. Like, it just doesn't seem like somebody that would back down and be like, okay, I'll let you have this one.
Yeah. Like, well, somebody has to.
I could see Nick backing down a little bit. Maybe them making a deal.
But because Nick is also aligned with Kay secretly, Ashley wouldn't be a horrible person to get rid of, since Ashley just outwardly went after Kay.
And also, Ashley was who he wanted to be the influencer, so she would be in this position. and she decided to target Kay and like completely mess up the rankings. So
Yeah, it could have been
maybe he could be
Ashley and
like,
Nick sitting there with all the power. That would have been
terrible.
well, good for them. It would be great for
Yeah.
them.
It would be so good. So maybe you could be like, where they're not as aligned as well strategically anymore, maybe. It could be an argument there. But no, I think it's Daniel.
I'm here for this conversation. I'm here to hear how both James and Nick play it because they're both smart players. Like they're both very good at this game. They know how to be charismatic, but they also know how to maneuver. So
I was so tempted to
I
watch
love
the next
it.
episode. I was like, okay, no.
This is the first, yeah, this is the first time that I have, at this point in the circle, liked so many players. I know you're a bit more divided, but I'm usually like, oh, I'm over these Eds of the world, and I just there are some good gamers in this cast.
Absolutely. I mean, and I guess that's why I could lose Daniel because he's not really gaming that well. But like, this is the first time he's really starting to get his footing, and so like,
Yes, I know.
I would like to see a little bit more of him here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Agreed.
necessarily need to see any more of Isabella. I don't necessarily need to see any more of Ashley, right? Personally.
I don't know. I love Matthew. I find him so entertaining. I wish he hadn't made this move because I thought he was
Maybe that's why I'm just kind of like
pretty darn well. Yeah.
I liked him a lot more before.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to keep Matthew Ashley over Sophia Isabella.
Yes, agreed.
That would be my pick. But anyway, okay. So you guys in the chat, thank you for bearing with us for just these 2 episodes. Monday, Josh and I will dive into 11 and 12. And then next Thursday, we will talk about the whole finale, the whole shebang, with Josh is going to join us, Chantele.
Perfect.
So we'll all three hash it all out.
Just have small heads.
We actually get bigger with 3.
Oh, you're going to do it that way. Okay.
Yeah. Because then it's really ridiculous. So we won't do that. But you guys in the chat, thank you so much. You're always amazing. And if you're joining us later, leave a comment. Let us know how you feel about this new player, Jackie, these rankings. Are you on a side like Chantele? Do you have a side?
Me? I'm not biased. Biased to the Aquarius energy? What? No. Or I guess the other ones are Aquarius energy, actually. But I wonder what Isabella is because that's what she's playing, right? She's playing Isabella. So
yeah,
not playing her Aquarius energy.
She's playing her Aquarius energy, but it's too much in the air. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Anyway, all right. Yes, thank you, you guys. I'm going to head off, get ready for Big Brother, because I will be back later tonight with David for Big Brother eviction recap. You will be as well on Reality Realness.
I will a little bit later because JoJo is going to be a little bit late tonight. I'm actually going to go live right now and talk about that premiere of Survivor. And so we'll do a little quick 1 hour there and then watch Big Brother. And then around 9:30 Eastern, we'll go live with Big Brother. So
okay. Perfect. Sounds like a night for everybody.
Come join us.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.